Hello and welcome to another episode of Between the Studs. I'm your host, Daniel.
I'm Rich.
I'm Corey.
And we are doing yet another builder spotlight, though we may be wearing the same clothes as we were
It's a new day. It is a new day.
Video.
I really like this shirt.
This could be coming out much later. But we are doing another builder spotlight in this new series that we are doing where we're sitting down with Rich or Intens Bricks. You want to spell that? I guess I should spell it.
Yeah, INTENSS Bricks.
Yes, so worth checking out. Again, I will say, if you have not seen it before, this is one of the few times I will recommend that you go and watch another video before returning to this video. Be sure to go watch Rich's room tour collection video. It's actually the most viewed video
By far.
on Atlanta
Hey
Brick Co.
now.
TV.
Hey
In all of
now.
Atlanta Brick Co. TV history, the most viewed video you've ever had. Do you remember what number you're sitting at? I know you take great
It's
pride
well
in it.
over 100,000.
Well over 100,000.
Yeah.
Nice, excellent. So, odds are you may have already seen it already, or you may have seen it
got
elsewhere
everyone.
on Beyond the Brick or something like that as well. But go watch that for sure. But we are sitting down today as part of this new Builder Spotlight series to ask you more questions about kind of your history in the LEGO community, how you found yourself there, the history of your engagement with it. So we have lots of interesting questions that Corey and I will be able to ask you about
I'm sure you'll
today.
have some real interesting questions.
Oh, yes.
To pick your brain a little bit more, to get more information about how you result in such a large, incredible build as you have in your room there. So let's get right into it. So in terms of the very beginning of your entrance to the LEGO hobby, what was the first LEGO set you ever had, or do you remember what year it would have come from?
So the first set I remember getting was the old homemaker sets.
Oh, yeah.
Like
back in
the family room.
70s?
Yeah, it was late. Yeah, it may have been out for a year or two, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the first set I remember getting on that blue base plate that had the studs around the outside.
With the rounded corners and the
Rounded
big
corners.
maxi figures.
Maxi figures, yeah.
Yeah, those were wild.
Yeah, those are some of my earliest ones I remember.
Yeah. So not really at all related to what you ended up pursuing in terms of your interests in MOCs and things. You know, your first set was not the Yellow Castle.
No, I didn't like the Yellow Castle at all when it came out. I was
What?
like, man, that doesn't look like... I didn't like it.
I know, this is
What?
hard to believe. The Castle guy.
I remember seeing that thing on shelves growing up in New York, and I was like, man, I'm not getting that thing. Thing's disgusting.
Yeah.
And then the Gray Castles came out in '84, and I was like, oh, that's it right there.
Well, this is a worthwhile follow-up question now. What was the first castle or medieval-related set you remember having?
The Knight's Castle. So the Black Falcon's original castle with the little red...
That was the one they did a micro-scale little gift with purchase of that or something later, didn't they? Yeah.
So I have pictures of it. My brother has the pictures. He has all of our old Lego pictures. And I remember me sitting in the basement with that and like Camouflage Outpost later. Like
That's
2
cool
years later.
pictures to
That's
have.
cool.
Yeah, for
We gotta
sure.
print those out and frame them.
Yeah,
I gotta get it for my
some
brother.
glossy prints.
Yeah.
that would make a nice gift.
Yeah.
Especially as you get older, it's hard to find gifts to give families and relatives and things. So feeding into that nostalgia is good for sure. All right, so we talked about kind of your first sets and things. What is the first MOC that you remember building, or potentially what's the first one you were actually really proud of? I'll let you choose.
So I remember when I was younger, I was probably like high school.
Sure.
We were up. I had my Lego room up in the attic, and I just had my castle stuff strewn about the room. But I built this. I wanted like this main port castle.
Yeah.
Which you can kind of get an idea why I built what I built now. And then I built this church, which was awful. I used a lot of those black walls with the printed stuff on it from the Skeleton Surprise.
Stones with the
stones,
windows. Yeah.
And I just lined those things up. And it was back when you didn't have parts. And I just remember stacking plates to make bricks. And I guess that's why I have like FOMO now, and I just buy so many parts.
Yeah. I mean, even up until really not so long in the distant past, lots of castle MOCs were largely comprised of those big prefab panels.
It's true, yeah.
I mean, we had a MOC on display here at the store that I think Chris, the owner, had built with his kids. I don't know, maybe a decade ago.
I remember that.
Yeah, and that was like
that,
almost all like those prefab. Like I think he used more of the gray ones than the black ones, but a lot of those prefab panels. So, yeah.
Well, you can get a lot of wall real quick with it, right?
Exactly.
You just need a couple 1x2 bricks and a couple inverted slopes, and you're on your way.
It's true. It's easily to multiply and expand.
This kind of brings me on a side tangent here. Have you seen that video of the guy who's like 3D printing the castle? Yeah, okay, so the channel is Nate from the internet, but yeah, he's been 3D printing this huge Lego castle.
Wow.
Yeah, you can see the scale of it. So the exact set that he's making...
It's a lot of plastic.
Yeah, so he's building the King's Castle, that one of the early ones with the Lion Knights and stuff, but upscaling it. So just kind of a fun side tangent there, worth checking out if you haven't seen it already. Let's see. So we talk about that was the first mock that you remember building. Do you have a first one that you were like really particularly proud of that you, I mean, you could be proud of that one for sure, but maybe your first one you displayed at a convention or something like that.
Yeah, I wasn't proud of one probably until I was much older.
Yeah.
Probably around 2010-ish.
Yeah.
I built the first iteration of what I started with the current iteration. It was much smaller. It was pretty good. It was just an enclosed castle, rectangular-ish on a mountain. And then I went,
Then you
bigger.
Then you went crazy.
Much bigger on this one.
You said you decided you were into this for the long haul.
Yep.
But that being said, did you have any dark age in your time period of LEGO? A time where you kind of tuned out of it, maybe either because of education, pursuing, or lack of space or anything like that, conflicts with work? Was there ever a time you kind of fell out of it before getting back into it?
No, I never had a dark age. So I thankfully always
That's
bought.
pretty rare.
Yeah, which is why I have almost every castle set, because I never stopped buying them.
Yeah.
I stopped building for a while, probably late high school, early college.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I continued to buy.
I didn't
Do you
know
still
that.
have those copies of those castles that you had from when you were a kid? Or
Yeah,
have you
I
had
have
to replace
everything.
them?
I never got rid of any of my
That's
sets.
fantastic.
So everything that's in my room is my original purchase.
Yeah.
And I still have some that are sealed that I haven't gotten out to build yet.
That's really rare. I mean, I think most people at least either had sold off stuff from their childhood or it went into the bulk bin at some point, and so it's like, yeah, you still have them but not together.
I thought you'd been
That's
buying
really
them
cool.
back. I thought you were going back and rebuying them. I didn't know
no.
it's all original. That's
Yeah, those
awesome.
like that Knights Castle set that's on my display. That's my original. That's my first castle set.
Wow.
And
You had always kept it together through that whole
Always kept
time
it
period?
together.
You had never had to like
Never
repart it
took them
together?
apart.
Have you seen his organization? It makes sense. That
I
he
believe
would
it.
never
I believe
take
of
it.
all people.
I mean, I used to be ridiculous. I'm still kind of ridiculous with how I do my things, but I didn't want to make anything different than what the instructions said. So I would always keep everything. In fact, my figures, I would never change them to look different, to have a different weapon in their hand. It was ridiculous.
Wow.
And then once you turn that switch, you can't stop it. So now
Yeah.
I've changed everything, and now I part out castle sets.
So when you got into mock building, you weren't really doing it from just pieces that you had on hand from kits, because you always kept them together. Had you started like sourcing parts specifically to make mocks for those?
So I bought
those
extras.
first
So
ones?
like those skeleton surprises, when they used to be on sale, I'd buy extras. So
Buy
I'd have my
duplicates.
original one,
Yeah.
and then I'd have extra ones to be able to build stuff.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I remember,
That's
and I
really
still have the little box. It was the box from the Camouflage Outpost. Used to be my entire parts bin.
cool. Yeah.
And that was everything I had to build something else.
Yeah.
It was nothing.
Well, this was a good question that you brought up in our last video talking to Corey. So, speaking of sourcing parts for mocks, what is your primary source, or secondary? You can go into as many as you want. Primary source for sourcing parts. Where does Intense Bricks get all of his many parts?
I mean, you probably think it's Goonsburg based on volume, but I probably buy more parts from Bricklink than
Okay.
anywhere else.
Yeah. Or Pick a Brick,
Yeah, or online Pick a Brick.
online or in store.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Atlanta Brick Co. obviously for there's some there's parts that I need for builds, and it's so convenient to be right here and be able to run down to the store and get something.
But yeah, you message me I don't know. Sometimes it's a couple times a week if it's like con crunch time. Sometimes it's not for a few
when
weeks.
we're getting close to the conventions. Yeah, it's
Definitely.
When it's
tight.
Con Crunch, our chat just becomes a parts draft
Yeah.
chat. No,
Yeah.
who has this? Who
Who's
has
got
this?
that?
We'll
Who
share
has
things
this?
amongst
Yeah.
each other. I'll look for them here at the store. So
we
it's
come
a
over
good-
each other's houses and drop off parts, pick up
yeah.
others.
Trade parts, yeah.
For the most part, we don't even typically charge each other for parts too. We pretty much operate on kind of a
It's a wash.
pay it forward.
It all ends
basis.
up being a wash.
Yeah, we
But
try
yeah, for
to.
sure, going to Goonsburg, I get a lot of parts from there at the factory store.
It's
Absolutely.
typically the cost-effective parts over there. Foliage, printed parts.
Yeah, foliage is very
absolutely.
cost effective.
Yeah.
So if anyone ever wants a scale, like Pick a Brick walls at your local Lego store are probably the most cost efficient way of getting a part. After that, Goonsburg with like some foliage parts are more cost effective, but Bricklink, you just got to eat it based on what they are. But you got to do some research. Just don't go for the first part you see. Find there's different ways you can query and filter. But yeah, Goonsburg's been a good source of bulk parts.
I can tell you've run the numbers on that thoroughly to make sure, even saving a few dollars here and there. I think to compare the pricing between Goonsburg and Bricklink for specific parts.
Yeah, you look at the weights and just see what that would be based on the quantity, and just compare it against Bricklink prices.
That's something you taught me. I think was that the weights listed on Bricklink are extremely accurate.
Yeah.
Like so you can multiply that out times however many to calculate that. What is it? 10 euros per 10 grams.
11 per 100 grams.
11 per 100 grams.
We,
Yeah.
went up
We've
a
got the
euro.
formula memorized, so we'll go over there and we'll see a
The
part,
conversion rates.
and I'll look up the part, look up the weight. No, and I put it back.
Yeah.
Well, it's gotten so bad. We also know how much a part that we've hit that limit on the weight.
Yeah.
based on what it feels like or what it looks
Well,
like.
yeah, you've internalized a lot of that math too, because when you're there in that store, your time is absolutely money. Because if you spend the whole time in the store on your calculator, I mean, you're burning time. You could be filling bags full of parts. So that's very interesting for sure. So after you source all of these parts, I mean, how do you keep your parts organized? We saw a lot of this in your room tour video. It looked like you had a few different methodologies, but this is something I always love to ask different builders because it's so different across the board. So a lot of people will argue for sorting by part type or sorting by color. So I'd love to pick your brain about that as well.
So my answer to that is yes.
Yep.
by part type and by color. So basic bricks are by color and by part type. Plates and I have my own system of what belongs within the color spectrum within their group, my stack, and then they're all by individual parts. And I'm little by little getting them out of just all blues and like breaking it out by each individual blue, breaking out by yellows, by reds, and everything. But my grays, blacks, browns, they're all by individual part in color. And then there's special like hinges and things like that, specialty parts that are kind of grouped in together, but still broken out by color within them. So my logic there is if I'm building these big projects, I like to know going into it what I've got of each one, my stock. And so if I've got a big box or a big bin of black parts, I'm never going to know what I've got in there. They're first of all hard to find when you're trying to build fast. And it also helps when you're building. So ahead of time, doing the pre-build, you know what you've got and what you need to bulk up on. And then when you're building, it's much faster. Just go grab part.
Absolutely. I agree.
It's a fantastic system when you're running low on a part and he's nearby. I can just kind of drive over and I know exactly what drawer to pick from.
He knows exactly
he
where to
also
go.
knows exactly what he needs to order
Yeah.
more of to restock. I mean, the way you organize parts and choose what parts to buy to keep on hand rather than to buy, on demand as you're building a project, it's all about not interrupting that creative process, right? I think we can all agree that when you get into that kind of flow state, the last thing you want to have happen is to not be able to find or to not have the part that you're looking for. I mean, that really puts a damper on things.
It does.
So absolutely excellent answer. Did you want to mention anything for like the types of bins that you use or anything for we don't have to do I'm not saying to do a shameless corporate plug or anything, but a lot of people like to know Acromills versus Craftsman or
Craftsman
like
all the way for me. Craftsman bins, they're available at Lowe's and Amazon.
I'm the same. It's like the 30 some odd
30
part stores, and then there's like the half size.
You can get the half size large, half size small.
What do you use, Corey?
His leftovers. Acromills.
Does he donate extra?
Old Craftsman-esque.
He gave me a good deal on some old bent up ones.
Nice.
So
Nice. I think I've got a couple where the corners chipped off. But I like the Craftsman better than the Acromills. The drawers are clearer.
They have better dividers.
And they click together.
They're less bulky.
They do click.
They have little legs click together. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
So.
And then I have larger ones for my bricks and large plates up on top. They're all containers, sir, but unfortunately they stopped making.
Use a lot of pick-a-brick cups.
I do use a lot of pick-a-brick cups, but they have boxes and I can't use those.
Yeah, they're not as reusable. All right, so out of all of your parts that you have, do you have a typical favorite part that you often find yourself returning to just because you find it so perfect in its form or just using it so much? The other option here is, do you have a favorite Lego color? You can also answer both.
So I have my favorite part being a castle builder is the masonry 1x2.
That's what I was going to predict.
Yeah,
Did you have any?
I was going to say the green prong, the stem.
Oh, for the trees.
Yeah.
Use that.
He's always asking me, Corey, do you have any? Have you seen any of these? Do you know anybody selling any of these?
Oh, I need those on the
because
pad
you do
walls.
your trees in more of that kind of
The
mini to
smaller
micro
pine.
scale kind of forced perspective with your landscape.
Yeah, I do. I do try to keep them small. But masonry, God, they need like 1x2s and
Such a good
1x1s
addition.
and
Such a
corners.
good addition. Yeah, we need to
more.
fill out that system of building a little bit more.
1x2s, 1x4s
sure.
only.
And more colors. We're getting new colors every year. But
It's very in demand. You can tell that a lot of people love it because it's constantly showing back up on the pick-a-brick wall.
Yeah.
my
People are buying
fantasy part, if you
foliage.
could cross like any part with any color across time, would be sand red masonry bricks.
Whoa.
Because like masonry bricks, you can get them in like medium nougat or like dark red, but Lego has always had trouble like portraying real brick buildings because a lot of real brick buildings are not red or dark red or medium nougat. They're typically really like a sand red. That's the most accurate like brick
paint them.
color. So yeah,
You
sure.
you would of all people
Just
spray
spray
paint
paint.
I'm
and
sure
modify your Lego pieces.
I'm sure some third-party company out there is probably selling masonry bricks in something comparable to sand red, but a lot of people will not use off-brand bricks in their creations.
So my favorite color, and this is going to combine here into what I'm currently building, is sand blue. So
Sand blue.
love sand blue.
I have to agree with you there.
Oh, you would know, yeah.
Light bluish gray?
No.
I like it. It's not my favorite.
They can look similar under some lighting, I think is
Light
what
blue
you're
is
getting
great.
at. But yeah.
No, sand blue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Such a delicious
fantastic
looking color.
Yeah.
And then coincidentally, that's my next project is going to be a sand blue castle.
I can't wait. You've already started posting some pictures of the foundations starting to go up, so I can't wait to see this one. I think your landscaping on this one is really on point, too.
Thank
I love
you.
the shaping of the terrain
Looks
and
good.
everything.
Thank you.
Looks
Fantastic
good.
foundation, so I can't wait to see where it goes.
Appreciate that.
Moving forward, though, do you have any build techniques you've incorporated in any mocks, or any specific details or anything like that that you are either most proud of kind of coming up with yourself, or just you really love implementing it? It can be something as simple as like a Lowell sphere, anything like a build technique or something like that that you love the most.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think anything I've done is someone else hasn't tried at some point.
Yeah.
I just like the way I build topography and landscape. I really much enjoyed, and to your point on this last one, I'm really happy with the way the shorelines are looking, the rocks are looking. It looks very organic. It looks like that's how this mountain would climb, and I'm really looking forward to finishing this off. So I like landscape. I'm proud of my mountains.
Yeah.
And adding foliage and colors where I think it should be based on the shadows and where I know my winds are coming from, and when where the ocean is and things move. I purposely built things in crevices where it's a little more green and a little more exposed, maybe not so much. So
I think we talked about that in your room tour video
Yeah.
too. I mean, how you have every flag in
every
this kingdom
every
pointing
flag
the same
was the
direction.
same way. Yeah.
Except one.
Yeah. Except one.
Yeah.
Why? When you go over to his house and
Did
you
you
turn
move
one?
that one?
Oh, I do. Yeah. You got to keep him on his toes.
There's one flag that does move on top. It's one of the cloth flags. The fan moves it, so it'll spin on me every once in a
That's
while.
funny.
I'll just walk by and
That's
just
funny.
tick it.
I have a follow-up question for you. Do you have any tips or tricks with how you determine what shape a landmass or a topography is going to be? I know there's a trick amongst people who draw and design fantasy maps, where I think they take you take a handful of I forget if it's rice or beans or sand or something, and you just throw it out, and then you kind of draw an outline around it, and that's how you come up with a fantasy map for
Oh, wow.
something like Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones or something like that. I don't know if you have any tips or tricks for how you determine the shaping of the land like that.
No, I have a general idea of what the whole landscape would look like, a big map would look like. But as I built my first mountains, I want everything to kind of Ice Age. This is how everything got carved, and so everything basically moves in that direction with the rivers and the mountains running congruently.
But even that, I mean, that's probably a lot more thought than a lot of people put into it, the actual natural formations of the landscape. So
Yeah,
think
so
a lot of people
I'm
find that
keeping
helpful.
everything kind of moving that direction, and the mountains are always a pain because you gotta keep stepping them in as you're building all the way up.
Yeah.
You want them to keep moving in that direction, so when you're done with it, it has that angled look to it.
It's
So,
got a uniform texture. You know, if
Yeah.
you go flat, suddenly you lose all of the layering, and it looks like a completely different. Looks like a big flat, smooth wall.
you've ended up just building a mountain straight down the grid on studs. And,
Right.
That's what pays off the most, though. When I'm mountain building, it starts out great, and as I get to the top, I'm like, ugh. I have to tear it down some and restart. When I look at his mountains, it looks like a mountain range.
Should almost build mountains from the top down.
I think the topography, as you're saying, it's an art in its own. Anybody
Yeah,
can customize a
for
building
sure.
the way they want, but the topography, the landscaping, as you say you hate to build, it's the hardest thing to build.
It's a challenge for me.
Yeah, and on my Dwarven Mountain, I let the landscape be the first thing that got built, and then the castle had to get built around that because it just looks more natural that way.
That's the coolest
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, it's they had to build this with those limitations of where the mountain was.
Yeah, the land exists before the structure
yeah.
does.
And so you
Absolutely.
can kind of tell when it's built, in reverse.
It just helps to do it
Yeah.
that way, because that's how it would happen in real life.
And like you said before, with based on how you build and how you have parts, it's best for how you build, and that's for me. That's how it's best.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the way you organize your parts, like you said, it's very granular. It's by part type and color. But a lot of the parts you're using are mostly common bricks, plates,
Yeah.
slopes, and things. So there's a fewer number of categories of parts that you're truly keeping in high numbers. So
Yeah.
it makes sense to organize it
And
that
for
way.
this current build, I've actually got my bins on the table with me. It used to be I just pull the individual drawers out, but this time I've got all of sand blue sitting in front of me, and some grays as the accent color. And he's got a joke coming.
Oh no! I just have to say, it was awesome when I came over and saw the mess he made. I was like, he makes a mess too. Oh.
Yeah, of all
Have
people.
you were over when the Dwarven Mountain was being built. Didn't you see that mess?
It was pretty clean.
A lot of times when we come over, you've clearly cleaned up because it's either for a lug meeting or something else.
True.
So you tend to pick up.
My room is always a mess, so I go over to visit, and it's so clean. I'm like, how does he do it? It's so clean all the time.
Maybe because I'm doing a bunch of things that, like, I'm doing landscape and the actual castle building right now. Then I need my greens. I need my, my slopes. I need my blues. Everything right now. So nothing can get put away yet. Because, I can't clear a spot at all.
Well, you mentioned even the last time we were over, like your sand blue used to be integrated with you had blue, dark blue, and sand blue.
The
together,
Azures were all together. The medium blues were together. So all the blues were in one. But as I was stocking up for this project, I parted myself out of that column I've got. So I had to break them out, and I put the navy blue and the sand blues together. Yeah. Because my navy blue I'm using that as my roofs for this build.
Your organizational method very much has to be adaptive and tailored to what you're doing at the given moment. I mean, even I just doubled the amount of storage that I have right now because just you outgrow it. Your storage methods are not a permanent solution. It's all ever changing.
And Lego's coming out with new elements, so it's like, oh damn, now I need a drawer for that.
Exactly. Exactly. Another question I just thought of. Now you build everything physically first, right? You don't do any digital building at all. So I mean, we're talking about these huge mountain landscapes that if Lego were to make a build of this or something, they'd 100% be using a digital modeling software to get the sculpting of it just right. And you freehand everything, correct?
Freehand, yeah.
I
just find
really
I like it better that way. And it's like, obviously I'll build something and it's going to get taken apart. The first thing I did this morning after last weekend building was working on the part of the angled. I have an angled tower up on the mountain. The first thing I built, I don't like it at all. I didn't like it. I was like, that's got to get fixed.
Right,
the one with the dark green 2x4 tiles underneath.
Yes,
I was looking at that.
Jutting out.
It stood out.
Yeah, it was a little too flat to me. It looked very much like I just plopped something on there, and I was like, that's not going to work. So I integrated some slopes into it. Now it looks like
interesting.
It's in the mountain a little bit.
I didn't not like it, but it did stand out a little. So I'm glad Okay.
Nice.
And really what I was doing when I first put just the tiles down, you probably saw it before the castle was actually on it. I did that just to give myself a placeholder, right? Boop, okay, you're ready to go. You build it, give it a shot. Does it look right? And it didn't look right. So I had to fix it.
Nice.
And it might not quite be there right now yet, so maybe I'll tweak it again.
Yeah. So let's see. We went on a few wild tangents there, but they were all good. We were talking about build technique or detail you're most proud of. Do you have a build or a mock that you didn't really like how it turned out? Maybe a mock that you abandoned entirely partway through, or just a mock that you found really particularly challenging as you were moving through it before ending up with a result that you liked? Give you kind of a few options there.
Yeah, there's nothing I've bailed on. I've gone through everything. And I'll say this, and it's not to say I consider myself a fantastic builder, but I've gotten to a point where I don't feel like I don't think I can't overcome anything at this point. Like, I feel like I can get into any project, even with my limited pieces in sand blue. Sand blue's a real challenge.
It is.
Because I don't have...
Not a lot of arches.
There's no arches, and as a castle builder, you need arches.
Yes.
There's not a whole lot of snot bricks in the sizes you want. You need like a 1x2. You've got plenty of them in both a bracket and a snot brick, but you don't have them... 1x1s would be nice, so you got to use Technic pieces and sheet, and there's not a whole lot of, like, modified plates. There's, like, one hook piece, and so there's not a lot there. So this one's being a real challenge to me, like, can I do everything I think I want to do with this? So I'm pretty confident. But to get back to your question, there's nothing... I mean, there's things I've redone. Yeah. And there's things that's like, that's not... Like, if you look back at my build, I've kept it all, like you said earlier. So I can go back and look at some things like, that doesn't look good. But I'm going to keep it because I like to see how I progress over time.
Exactly. And I think we talked about this some in your video where we came over and toured your collection. Because your kingdom has grown and expanded, I mean, it's an interesting timeline, not within universe, but showing the development of your building skills as a builder. I mean, the techniques and the style that's integrated into it has very much been an interesting evolution. Just looking across the table.
Yeah, and Corey said it also. You can go back and you can kind of see how much he wasted parts when building.
Sure.
Like that initial corner of like my keep. Oh, there was so much wasted brick down there. If I were to take that
but to
apart,
try and dig it out is not worth it at that point. Yeah.
Well, the challenge with your Sand Blue Castle is a limited palette of parts, but I think that's a good thing because it's preventing you from being too repetitive with the style that you build in.
That's a good point.
That's a
it's
really good point.
making the castle be different. Because even though all the factions are different, Rich, the builder, is still the same guy. And I can see some of my favorite methods kind of bleeding into each design, and that's why I stay with unique parts. It forces me to do a different style
that's
in
a
each
fantastic
building.
point. Yeah.
So your Sand Blue, I'm excited to see how it turns out because it won't look anything like the others.
And when I did the Dwarven Castle in sand green had a pretty good amount of colors, in that palette, parts in that palette.
It's been more readily available for
longer.
But
I really wanted that one, the Dwarven Mountain, to look different architecturally from everything else I've done.
Completely.
Right? The Fright Knight's Castle, I wanted to be this gloomy, dark thing that, things hanging over and whatnot. And, the Lion Castle is your straight up basic gray castle. It's very simple.
It was a logical place to start.
But the Dwarven Castle, I wanted that to be a little more ornate and a lot of anglers on
very
it.
Geometric for the dwarves, whereas the Fright Knights is very gothic in style, lots of spires. And,
Yep, absolutely. And then this one will be a little different. I've got some different ideas for this one going through. So
fantastic. Yeah, your point about the limited parts palette. Yeah, it forces you to find more creative solutions to very basic problems, like you said, lack of brackets, lack of snock bricks, things like that. But there's also a lot of parts in sand blue that you might not use otherwise, or might not see in other colors. I mean, when I was building with it, there's like a 1x2 brick with the vertical bar on the short side that I've probably never used in any mock ever, but I found a cool way to make a light fixture bracket for it. So I can't wait to see what kind of sand blue parts you find.
I just ordered like 30 of those because I'm going to use them for some kind of design element. The big thing is I don't want this just to be like a sand blue version of the castle I was built. I don't want it to be like the sand green. I didn't want that to be just the same castle, in a different color. So I want it to be its own architectural style. Who are these people? What is their difference than everyone else? So.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to see it. All right, as we get starting to wrap up here, do you have any other builders in the LEGO community that particularly inspired you in your time as you were kind of developing your build style and techniques and things like that?
So like I say, I mean, I've watched a lot of builders, and I purposely try not to use other people's. Like when I'm coming with a project, I purposely don't try to look at other people's versions of that. I've tried to always just look at whether it be a fantasy build of a drawing or something, or if it's Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones. I've tried to look at the real version of that outside of the LEGO universe.
Right.
Just because I don't want to cheat and use somebody else's style.
Right. And once you look at it, it's hard to get
it's hard.
back out of your head.
I've done that with little things, with whether it be like a catapult or something small I'm building. You can't help but use their idea or have that idea in your head as you're building. So I've tried not to look when I'm building a big project, use other people's ideas. But the LEGO space is full of so many talented people. You can't help but you go to a convention and you see somebody like, oh, that's great, I want to do something like that. But no one in particular that I follow for ideas in my space. But
fair enough. You're going your own way.
I like it. I tried to.
I like it. Well, it forces you to solve the problems yourself in your own unique way, which there's something definitely to be said for that.
For
sure.
They're probably worse. I wanted my windmills to be my own unique thing, so I know they're different.
Exactly.
I'm sure someone else has tried what I've done, but I just want it to be different than what everyone else is using.
Well, and nowadays we've had a lot of Bricklink sets coming out that have been medieval in nature too. So I don't know, has that influenced any of your build style? I mean, I'm sure you've been purchasing a lot of those, but do you try and kind of steer clear of those techniques and things as well?
I have, and I've only built Lowenstein back in the day, and then I built just the one since then. They're also sitting in boxes. I have a lot of catching up to do on builds, but thankfully, so I haven't used them, and I don't have their ideas in my head, their techniques.
I think you should build them and put them in your layout. They would just look good as part of the layout. Bricklink sets.
And it wouldn't be his.
Some people do like to buy Bricklink sets and put them in their build.
Oh yeah.
I don't know who did
that.
That's
so what could that possibly be referencing?
So I do have one set. It's the Medieval Market Village. I put in the inner castle because I thought it fit real well on where my pie slice is, my cake slice is on the map. So I have it opened up, and it has the back open.
No man is without sin.
I have contemplated taking that thing out.
He himself has a set in his display.
I do. It's obvious. It's right on the edge.
There you go. Good to know. So after talking about kind of builders that inspired you, I'm sure there are a number of builders out there who have seen what you build and get inspired by it. Do you have any advice for any other mock builders, maybe young up-and-comers or other people in kind of the medieval field? Do you have any advice for them as well? Yeah, just start small, right? You don't have to build the big thing that you see at a show or of like, oh, I can't ever build something like that. Yeah. Build a micro version of it. Build a smidget of it, a part of it, a portion of it. So just start doing something. You'll build skills doing that. Go to conventions. Meet with people, talk with people, see techniques. I get ideas every time I go to these shows.
with different things that people are doing. So yeah, just build something small. All of us started somewhere.
Exactly.
I built some horrendous things when I was younger. But
Yeah, I
each
think we
one of
all
those
did.
horrendous builds made me better. And
Yeah.
some of them are not too long ago. During COVID, I was building some stuff, and I have a Black Falcon's fortress I built out of the 3-in-1 castle, and it's not the greatest, but I got a lot of practice on doing some funky angles, which I used in my Lionites castle as I moved at some angles on that. So
Absolutely.
practice makes perfect.
Excellent advice. We talk about that a lot here on the channel when talking about Lego conventions and things. It's just go to them and show something. I mean, if you've never been to a Lego convention, you probably just see on social media a lot big, huge builds covered on social media because that's what gets the traction. But if you go to a Lego convention, I mean, you can see some really fantastic work in fields like micro scale and things like that. And there are awards for these categories at Lego conventions, and they're specifically looking for things that shine that are not just huge in scale.
Yeah, over half of it never ends up online.
Exactly.
It's the cool stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. So a lot of those bigger social media accounts, Beyond the Brick and things like that, of course they're going to show what's the biggest and the best, but don't let that discourage you. Attend a Lego convention and see how much fantastic work there is out there, even at a small scale.
Yeah,
And
some of
that's-
the best builds I've seen were the little micro scales. One of them sitting right next to us, which is just like where they use. It's not just a technique in building, but they're using the shapes of the parts in their build, and my brain doesn't work that way. I've not gotten there yet, so I admire those people who can build in micro scale using the shapes of the different pieces, the studs, the different element cuts and things within the build to look like certain things. I mean, I tried it. You could see in one of my builds, I built a little micro castle, and I was having the hardest time.
You did a micro version of the castle inside the castle.
I was like, well, a headlight brick, and I'm like, how do I build the window? It's challenging.
Much more limited parts palette.
But that's
when
a
you get down to that
small thing to build, and I think it's available to most builders, most people out there, to be able to build something at that scale.
size. Exactly,
and-
because it eliminates a lot of financial constraints, space constraints, number of parts you have on hand already constraints.
And shoot, if you can build something that's pretty amazing at that scale, I mean, it gets easier as you have more parts and a size that's available to you to build.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
that's how I do it. I'm not good at building. I just build so much that it kind of drowns out the lack of quality. So,
That's very true.
hey,
I'm kidding.
Well, excellent advice for our fans out there. So thank you to Rich, once again, Intends Bricks. You can find him on various social media. Let's see, you're on Instagram.
Instagram, yep, that's
You're
my
on
primary.
primarily on Instagram. So make sure to check out his previous video on our channel as well. Go give him a follow on Instagram if you've not done so already. But thank you to Rich, and thank you to Corey for joining me for this video as well. Thank you to you all for watching. If you have any questions for Rich, leave them down in the comments below. If there's any other questions you'd like to ask him, I'm sure he'll be monitoring those down there and doing his best to answer a handful of those questions.
Fire away, tell me how bad it looks.
no, that's my job.
You've gotten a little bit of fair share of hate, I think, online as well.
You always get some hate online. That's all good.
The more publicity you get, the more negative you get as well. But thank you all for watching this episode of Between the Studs. Thank you all for joining. Please leave a like on this video if you've not done so already, and consider subscribing to Atlanta Brick Co. TV. But thank you all for joining once again, and we will see you next time. Take care, and bye-bye, everyone.